Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Lionsbridge FC Soccer here at Pomoco Stadium. I'm Rob Smith, and Kevin Darcy will be joining me in just a moment as we get into the final week of the season here for Lionsbridge FC. If you haven't seen this team play, you do have one more chance to see them in action here at Pomoco on Saturday against San Lee FC, and that'll be the final time this team does play here at home and in the 2019 campaign. Their USL League 2 season came to a close last week as they were unable to clinch a playoff spot in the season as they fell in their final two games, one here at home and one against NC Fusion on Saturday night. So unfortunately, their season did come to a close in the USL League 2, but in their second year in the USL League 2, they did pick up one more win than they did in their inaugural year, and they also picked up one extra point than they did. And to be honest, they've picked up quite a number of fans. The last time this team played at home, they played in front of a crowd of just over 3,200 fans, which is the largest crowd the USL League 2 has seen all year. And after a season ago, seeing about 1,400 fans on average. And I don't know the numbers by exacts, but I would imagine they've gone up this year as well. So more wins, more points, more fans, and overall a more successful season than their inaugural year, and that shows an incredible amount of growth. Tonight, they'll be playing a professional soccer team as professional sports comes to the peninsula for the first time since 1996. To give you some kind of perspective, I was born in 1996, so it's been about 23 years since professional sports has been played here in the 757 area code, and they'll be hosting Joe Rice and the Richmond Kickers. Joe Rice being an alumni of this Lionsbridge FC program playing professional soccer up in Richmond. Lionsbridge FC is certainly happy to host him and his teammates this evening. We'll dive into that, the USL League 2, and the season that was in just a moment. And now we're going to head up to the booth with Kevin Darcy. And welcome into the booth. Rob Smith, Kevin Darcy joining you live. We haven't quite gotten to the national anthem yet, so we still have plenty of time to talk about what we have in front of us tonight. And that is, for the first time, like I mentioned just a moment ago, since 1996, we've got professional sports here on the peninsula and in Newport News as the Richmond Kickers are in town for a friendly this evening against the pride of Lionsbridge FC. And Kevin, what are you looking forward to most tonight now that we're completed the USL League 2 season? We'll talk about the season that was as we get into this contest, but what are you looking forward to most this evening?
Looking forward to seeing the guys relax tonight. The pressure's off in terms of the league and, getting into the playoffs. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in Lionsbridge's favor. Now they can just relax and play and, see how they stack up against a long-time standing franchise who's had a ton of success, right out of Richmond here, the Richmond Kickers.
Lionsbridge FC had a pretty strong start to their year, picking up 2 victories, but it was the end of the year where they ultimately just struggled to finish things off. They end their USL League 2 season with 18 points, right now sitting in 5th place in the division, and there was just a lot of parity in the South Atlantic Division this year. Kevin, is North Carolina Fusion, NCFC, Virginia Beach United, and Tri-Cities all picking up at least 5 wins on the year. And Tobacco Road, still with 2 games to go, is able to do that as well. So a lot of good teams, a lot of teams beating up on each other, and ultimately it looks like it's only going to take about 25 points to win the division.
Yeah, well, those who've listened in to our broadcasts, I think have heard me say on a few occasions, we've been the better team in most games, especially here at home. Take away maybe the second half against the Beach, and then maybe last game, just overall, we lacked a bit of urgency. But I thought we had a tremendous year in terms of impacting the game and taking hold of the ball, taking hold of the play, and really showing a lot of good stuff. Just been a little unlucky at times.
And I know we mentioned quite a bit is that the game of soccer is kind of a funny game, not necessarily always just in the result. Lionsbridge FC in their 14 games in the USL League 2 ultimately outscoring their opponents 26-24. So that goal differential +2 on the good side, but it was really, I think, the biggest struggle for Lionsbridge FC, at least at home this year, was defensively. And it seemed like bad turnovers or fouls in the defensive third were ultimately the thing that were the kryptonite for this home team.
Yeah, Rob, you said it right. I mean, transition wins and loses games, and how you deal with it on both sides of the ball. And, we got hurt a good bit in transition, especially some of those key matches where, we turn it over, as you mentioned, in our half, and next thing you know, it's in the back of our net. So, just managing risk versus reward, and that comes with more experience as players. These guys are in the, early stages of their careers. Hopefully some will get an opportunity to play professionally, but that's an area they're going to have to master a bit more and be a bit sharper and a bit more mature as time goes on if they're going to get to the next level.
Absolutely. And speaking of the next level, Kevin, a perfect transition into tonight's contest as Lionsbridge FC takes on the Kickers from Richmond. Richmond Kickers in town. After having a week off, they'll be playing here tonight, and somebody on that Richmond Kickers team used to play here on the peninsula, and his name, Joe Rice. Joe Rice was the first goalie that played with consistency for LBFC last year. Played in 12 games of the 14 in the season. Picked up, I believe, the majority of the wins for Lionsbridge FC. 17 goals against, making 57 saves in his year last year with a 1.48 goals against average. Hasn't seen a whole bunch of time there in Richmond, serving typically as a backup, but he's going to get the chance to get the start tonight as we get into our starters.
Yeah, good for Joe. I mean, he certainly impacted the inaugural season of Lionsbridge, as you made mention of, and, really paved the way for this franchise to move into year two. Now we've got a different goalkeeper, a different set of goalkeepers with Lionsbridge are getting opportunities, and, it'll be interesting tonight on our side with Jacob Reimers, local product, see how he responds, see how he holds himself together and where his confidence is at, and, hope for good things happen for Mr. Reimers.
So Reimers and Rice is the goalie matchup this evening, and we'll move into our starting lineups for Richmond in the first half. Their back line looks like this. Number 12, Alex Anskoff. Number 18, Wahab Akwe. Number 5, Connor Shinosky. And number 4, Ivan Magales. And then the midfield, number 21, Maxi Rodriguez. 7, Josh Hughes. 28, Greg Boehme, and number 22, Yannick Eckenrode. Forwards tonight for the men in red, Joe Gallardo and Mutaya Muwape. And that's going to be the starting group for the Kickers this evening. Starters for Lionsbridge FC. Looks like a group that a lot of them have played this year. Some still coming into the lineup for the very first time, them being highlighted by number 26, Daniel Hoffmann. I believe this is his first start. First time we're seeing Eren Elbustu in the lineup as well in quite some time. Oscar Ramsay has been a mainstay late in the year. He'll get a start at midfield as well. The back line, Ferguson, Cooke, Scearce will move from the midfield to the back line, as will Ellis to the back for this evening. Forwards tonight, White, Cooke, and Elbustu. And, of course, Jacob Reimers in goal. So Lionsbridge FC rocking the All Blacks this evening, going left to right, going in the first half. Richmond Kickers wearing reds, going from right to left for the Kickers, left to right for Lionsbridge FC. And then Joe Rice rocking the blue. Jacob Reimer wearing the green. So that sets things up quite nicely as the Kickers will start this contest. Just about a 7:10 start time, so just a touch behind. Perfectly fine, though. Officials waiting. Gives them the thumbs up. The window's open, and away we go. So Kickers start off with the ball here. He'll push back. Kickers playing in the USL League One.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of effort by the Kickers to keep the ball. They want to come in tonight and show that they're a professional club, that they can keep the ball, regardless of being a narrow pitch or not. I think they're going to try to overplay tonight and keep us under pressure, keep us chasing, keep us moving.
White and Cooke on the outside trying to get that ball back. Possession being maintained here by that group in red. Richmond Kickers playing in City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. You can catch most of their games on ESPN+. So far 3-8-3 on the season with a 2-3-2 record at home. Their next home game will be on Saturday this week. Ball up in the air here now in the box, a chance to clear. Not quite done yet. Here, shot on and in the back of the net, number 28. Greg Boehme puts the ball in 2 minutes into the contest, and that's how we're starting.
Man, tough start for Lionsbridge. I mean, kickers came out, possessed the ball, got into the attacking third, sending a ball into the mixer, and as you know, a lot of times in this game, ball beats around a bit, and beneficiary of the kickers, ball drops to their feet, back of the net.
1-0 our score here as Boehme puts that ball in the back of the net unassisted.
Yeah, it's a tough way to start. The pro club coming in, you know, could be a little anxiety from the players just thinking about playing the team at the next level. To go down a goal and 2 minutes in, we'll see how they're going to respond here.
As I was just about to finish saying, North Texas SC will be at City Stadium on Saturday if you want to go see the Richmond Kickers play. And if you want to come see Lionsbridge FC play, they will also be in action here at home on Saturday. Catch Lionsbridge FC on Cox Yearview Saturday night or here at Pomoco. The Richmond Kickers you can catch on ESPN Plus or on WTVR CBS. That's in Richmond. Lionsbridge FC struggling to get possession here early in the contest. Kickers have done a good job of utilizing the little field that they have.
Yeah, they're moving the ball. They're moving it quickly. I mean, a good thing for Lionsbridge, I mean, the kickers are keeping the ball, but they're keeping it in their half. You know, so if the Lionsbridge shape can stay pretty compact and just read the game and win balls when they come in your area, it should be okay.
Solid read by Charlie Ferguson. No sub rules this evening. So quite a number of reserves on both sides' benches. Ball thrown in and bounces around. Rodriguez clears back and now to the feet of Magales. Magales around, an aggressive play and foul called on Oscar Ramsay. First foul of the day.
Yep, good to see Ramsay getting tight, you know, not giving anything easy. I mean, they got to definitely take away some things here with the kickers. Not going to take everything away, but getting in a little physical early may be a good method to change the game a bit.
Shanowski pushed that one into Hughes, foul there in the midfield. I think that was on Ramsay again. Out of the outside, maintaining possession. Gallardo. Gallardo to the near side. Magales now looking for a man. It's number 28, Boehme. Boehme who scored, and out of play it goes for a Reimers kick. Tonight's opening moments brought to you by Nike. Nike's the official uniform provider of Lionsbridge FC. You can check out the Nike styles for the soccer player in your home at Nike.com. Nike, just do it. An aggressive play and a foul, no card, but Elbustu will have to have a conversation with the official.
Yeah, I'll be lucky if he doesn't get booked there. He took a real swipe at that one and followed through without any holding back there. Yeah, we laughed last match about him calling it a friendly, Rob. That isn't the most friendly play. Welcome to Pomoco Stadium, huh?
And after all of that, I think he is going to get a booking. Yellow card to Elbustu. Got him just below the shin guards. He'll slowly get to his feet. That is Number 21, Maxi Rodriguez.
Yeah, interested tonight, Rob, to see how we handle things in the midfield. You know, I'm one to always speak about our numbers in midfield. Tonight they match up pretty well. Both teams are playing a 4-4-2, at least on paper. We'll see how that shape changes as the game goes on, but it should give the Lionsbridge an opportunity to, you know, balance the numbers in midfield and be able to get onto the ball a little bit easier.
Ball being brought up the left side, now forward. Bridge aren't able to maintain possession. It stays on the hands of the boys in red.
Also like how Brown is now playing in the center of the park, drop down into the midfield. I think as a player that we need to get on the ball as much as possible. His impact on the game has been tremendous every game, and the more he can touch the ball, the better for the Lionsbridge and the better to find a rhythm.
Kierkegaard's doing a nice job of maintaining possession here early. Still just about 10 minutes into the game. This is the first chance for the Bridge offensively. White goes down. No foul called. And offsides is the call. Reimers just rockets that one out of play.
Now, Rob, I have to take that back. It looks as if we're playing a 4-3-3, you know, with two holding midfielders sitting in, with Brown playing on top of the midfielders as they attacking basically number 10 player, literally.
White, Cooke, and Elbustu, the forwards here tonight for the home team. Elbustu getting his first start in quite some time. I haven't actually seen him in action in quite a bit of contest. White and Cooke, though, have played intermittently throughout the year. Brown, the top scorer for this team in black, playing right in the heart of the midfield tonight. Well, the guys on this field, Cooke, Ellis, and Cooke. So Travis Cooke, Derek Cooke, and James Ellis, the only three in the starting roster tonight that played with Joe Rice. Just talking to Travis Cooke and Joe before the game. And they played together at VCU, talking about their experiences together both last year and this. That ball sent far to White, and Rice will go and corral it.
That was a good build-up and a good ball in to the far post. Pretty close to getting on the end of it.
To the backside now. And forward, he's on sides. That's Muwape. Muwape into the 18, trying to do it himself, cleared by Cooke. Now to Ferguson. A brief moment for Lionsbridge to counter. Foul is called.
Gonna have to be aware of Muwape. Certainly looks like a player with a lot of pace and a lot of swag about his game, the way he went at our back line and got the end line and put in a pretty dangerous ball.
A lot of pace to this game early, already 1-0, 10 minutes into the contest. Goal coming from Greg Boehme in the second minute. Decent crowd out here tonight, including a solid supporters group from Richmond. If you're joining us for this 804 versus 757 contest, and we appreciate you joining us online. Ball through now to Ferguson. Ferguson pummels through a couple guys now, ultimately with the feet of Cooke, and that foul comes from Josh Hughes. Hughes taps Brown on the back, lifts him back up.
Let's see, we'll go back to our earlier in the season, keys to the game where we can take advantage of some set plays, some restarts, see if we can be dangerous, get some guys in the end of this, battle a little bit here in the box, and be resourceful enough if the ball knocks down and be on top of it. Of course, the service has to clear the first defender if we're going to be able to get onto it.
Now Cooke. Back to Brown. Over to Ellis. Ellis almost lost it after the pass from Brown. Ellis rallies back to Scearce. First time I've said his name this evening. Scearce, the captain for the Bridge tonight. No Ivan Militar in the lineup. Ramsay. Cooke. Back to Reimers. Reimers now on the 18. To Scearce. Scearce with time and space to the other side of the field. And now Lionsbridge is beginning this possession game. Instead, Cooke will punch it out of play.
It's going to be interesting tonight to see Daniel Hoffmann, a young player that's trying to find his way and, playing against a professional side here. He's checking to the ball, trying to get onto the ball, and successfully they've got guys in his back, and so far just hasn't been able to find a gap in time to get himself involved. So we'll see how that changes maybe as the game goes on.
All back with the kickers. 21 Rodriguez and over to the far side. I think the official was waiting to call offsides on Gallardo, but he never touched it, and so we continue on. 14th minute of the contest. Out of play. Ferguson to throw. There's another chance here for the Bridge. There goes Brown. Brown sees Ellis, looking for some way to go to him, and he finally does. Ellis with a little bit of space. Ellis now near the box. Ellis gets inside. Ellis puts one off his left. I think he wanted to have a go at Rice, and Rice just falls on it.
That was a nice sequence and build up by Lionsbridge. They found Brown in the center of the park, was able to switch the point of attack out to Ellis, who got a chance on goal, didn't hit it quite as well as he'd like to, but will take the chance on goal, and the ability to get into their final third is important.
A lot of back and forth here in the midfield. Ultimately ends up with Hughes. Hughes now to Gallardo. And stoppage in play for the injury on the far side with Maxi Rodriguez. He is back down. Rodriguez was injured earlier. And here comes the medical staff.
Rob, just early indications. I like the pace of the game. I like that both teams are trying to play. I mean, the kickers certainly have had a little more of the possession, but Lionsbridge is trying to kind of grow into the game here and starting to show some good signs.
Slowly but surely starting to figure it out. And as we take this break, we'll dive into the USL League 2 standings. As Lionsbridge FC in their inaugural season ended up with 4 wins, 5 losses, and 4 ties. This year ending their season with 5 wins, 6 losses, and 3 ties. Excuse me, it was 4, 5, and 5 last year, not 4, 5, and 4. So 4, 5, and 5 last year. So this year they redistributed a couple of those ties. One was a loss, one was a win. But ultimately what that looks like is an extra point in the points column, an extra win in the win column, and a greater number of fans so far throughout the season. I would imagine that fans' attendance at games has been up significantly.
Man, great events consistently, great fan support in numbers, but also in just energy and support for the home team. And that's been a real plus. And the play has been good. You know, we talked about it a little bit earlier. You mentioned the results aren't always just. I agree with that 100%. But, you know, you are what your record says you are, and you got to be able to find your way and figure it out. And, you know, if you're going to win a division or make a playoff, you got to be able to win those close games.
So, you know, it's tough with a division that has 7 teams. You know, every team has got to take a week off at some point. Lionsbridge FC taking theirs at the very end of the season. So everybody else still has 1 or 2 games left to play between now and next Saturday, or between now and this Saturday. So some will play once, some will play both tomorrow and Saturday. But safe to say this was, I would argue, the best division in the league, as that ball is in the back of the net again. I believe that's 10.
Yeah, it's much too easy. I mean, the kickers have done a nice job of sending midfielders through when they play a longer direct ball to keep themselves on side, and he got in right between the teeth of the center backs, was able to hold the ball, get a step on the defenders, and eventually deposit in the back of the net.
So Joe Gallardo puts the second goal across for the Richmond Kickers, and they're ahead in this one 2-0.
Yeah, the center back tandem of Cooke and Scearce are going to have to figure things out, maybe use their midfield block a little bit more to sit on the forwards, to screen balls into the forwards. You got to find a tactical way to take some things away. It's a little too easy right now for the Richmond forwards to get onto the ball and to cause Lionsbridge defense a lot of trouble.
Lionsbridge just struggling to pick up possession here. One thing I will say, Kevin, is couldn't ask for a better night for the game. About 83 degrees in Norfolk, and that was in Newport News. Is another chance, another shot on, and that one is wide left. It's 83 degrees in Newport News when we started. Should be about 73 by the time we end. Clear skies, relatively low humidity. Couldn't ask for a better night for soccer. And tonight's weather report is thanks to the folks at Mosquito Joe. You can say goodbye to mosquitoes, ticks, and fleas with Mosquito Joe's effective mosquito control solutions. It's time to start enjoying your yard again. Satisfaction guaranteed with Mosquito Joe. Outside is fun again.
Yep, great weather we have tonight. Certainly there's been some tough humid nights, I should say, earlier on in the season. So the players should take advantage of this one tonight and put out a real good, inspired effort.
Another foul here.
Rob, 20 minutes in, it's a bit of a critical time right here, I would say, in the next 5-10 minutes, so we can get something positive. I say to Lionsbridge to get themselves going, just get a better confidence level here and, be able to fight their way back in the game.
On the far side, they set up again. Gallardo now brings it back. He's getting pressed pretty hard. Now they're going to switch field. And just a touch too strong. Jamie Gunderson now into the contest. Looks like Gunderson for Cooke. First sub of the day, and what I would imagine is going to be quite a number of subs today.
Yeah, that's an early one there, especially for one of your center backs or from the back line. But I think coach is looking for just an answer to some of the early attempts that the kickers have been able to get going. So we'll see if Gunderson can maybe shore things up in the back and organize a bit earlier and quicker and be a little bit sharper. I say that not to say that Cooke wasn't doing a job. I mean, a lot of times it's just the structure and the numbers of players and how the kickers are running guys in and out of spaces. But, we'll see what this adjustment means.
First corner kick of the day from either side, 22 minutes into the contest. Looks like they'll be taking it short. Pushing Ramsay away. Ramsay and Ferguson are right there. That ball is taken a little bit high, and they'll loft it up. Here comes a chance at a shot up and over everything into the flags. Ball picked back up by the Richmond kickers. Kickers now across midfield and forward. Defense collapsed there for Lionsbridge and ultimately back under the feet of Reimers. Reimers will get things started by kicking it over to Ellis. Ellis gets by his defender, then is greeted by Gallardo. Now that is Brown. Brown working alongside Josh Hughes, and Hughes gets it out of play.
Yeah, we're starting to really see, Rob, is just the detail to, the professional side and their mobility off the ball, their movements, their, 2 or 3 different options every time a guy gets on the ball, and it makes the game a whole lot easier. And, it's made it much, much harder here on Lionsbridge. But, you can just see a little more detail to the players, and their shape and their ability to play together and play off each other is starting to really take shape.
White goes down, no foul called, and they'll continue. White wanted it. White's going to continue to ask for it, and ultimately White's going to get called for the foul. A lot of contact down there on the corner. On the south side of the field. And that foul called on James Ellis. Ellis puts his hands up in disbelief. Pretty aggressive play from both sides here in the first 25 minutes of this exhibition match.
Yeah, I think on that one, Ellis just kind of got his back turned a little bit. I don't think on purpose. I think he just got kind of turned around a little bit and ended up probably looking more like it was his foul. I'm not sure there was any, ill intent there to foul.
Free kick on its way. Ball played short and back now over to the near side. Ball bouncing around. Megales forward to Gallardo. Gallardo inside the box. That shot on and wide right from Eckenrode.
Yep, good attempt by the kickers. And Lionsbridge is going to have to figure out what they're going to try to take away from the kickers, because right now the kickers are getting a little bit of everything, keeping possession, playing balls wide, taking the end line. putting in services, finding the target players. It's going to have to be an adjustment made here, a conscious adjustment to try to tighten things up a bit.
Ball maintained in the kicker possession. The outside, now back. Shinoski. Now switching fields to Megales. Megales can't handle it. Max Poelker into the game.
There's another guy I haven't seen in a while. I think he carried an injury there for a few weeks and trying to get himself back in some form. Let's see if he's able to impact this game tonight.
The ball forward and offsides is the call, and pulling up the very last minute, Muwape. So Poelker into the game for Daniel Hoffmann. Hoffmann the sub off.
Yeah, we'll see if Poelker can find the ball. It was hard for Hoffmann. He did a lot of work off the ball. He tried to find pockets to get into, but unable to really get to be much of a factor on the ball with his minutes up to this point. Lionsbridge as a whole hasn't been able to gain possession too often, so not any one player's issue. It's a team issue as we speak, and look for some improvement as we go. Let's see what Poelker can bring to the game.
30 minutes into the contest. Reimers gets us restarted again here for the second third. Still plenty of soccer left to play, but Lionsbridge really still hasn't built up enough possession to challenge Rice on the other side of the field. Ball bouncing in midair for quite a bit. Returns to the other side. And now falling. Cleared away. Ball stays with the kickers. Gallardo to the near side. Boehme gives it up to Megales. Now in the hands of Muwape. Muwape to the outside. Taken away by Poelker. Poelker makes a good run at the ball and is then fouled by number 12, Ainskoff.
It's a good read and a good step by Max there. Unfortunately, he took a knock winning that ball. Hopefully it's not the same injury and he's able to continue.
Brennan Burton getting set to come into the game for Lionsbridge FC. Pape coming off.
Rob, it's a bit unique. We've already seen 5 local players, getting some minutes here for Lionsbridge, which is good for the local fans. Hopefully they recognize the local players and appreciate their efforts and their ability to play at this level.
So Lucas Mendez and Dennis Chin into the game. And you're absolutely right. I don't know if it means more to the fans or the players. And you imagine as a player getting the opportunity to play in your hometown in front of a crowd like this. I imagine it means something special.
For sure, man. You long for an opportunity to play against players who are, supposed to be at the next level, which the kickers certainly are, and they're showing a bit of that tonight and how they play. So good chance to compete and show you stuff.
Here comes Brown. On the outside is Ellis. Ellis now finding Burton. Burton out of James Madison University. Unable to get by his defender. Finally finds Scearce. Scearce gets called for the foul, and he's not happy about it, but there was a lot of hand grabbing there.
Yeah, he rode him for a while there. He had no choice really. He just kind of hooked him up and stayed with him and disrupted it enough that he couldn't play a clean through ball.
So Burton, when he came on for number 15, Rene White. Ball in a pod over there, ends up with the bridge. Now looking forward to Cooke.
Yeah, I like what Lionsbridge did there, Rob. I mean, they pressed higher up the field. They moved as blocks of players. They moved together. They pressed the kickers. They just didn't let them walk the ball around the field and ended up getting a turnover and almost had a good chance to get into that final third area. And pressing is an important piece of the game, but you got to do it as a group. You can't go as individuals. You can't go on the hunt without your teammates coming in behind you to win that next ball.
There goes Brown. Brown trying to get that next ball forward to Cooke. Goes over to Rice. Ball sent backwards, ultimately to Wahab Akwe.
Yeah, it's been a good time to try to move the blocks up higher and press a bit. Anytime a negative ball is played, you can move up and get pressure on the ball. It's a good cue to do so. They opted not to that time and to sit a little bit.
And the kickers have been sitting for a little bit, haven't found an opportunity to move forward, and now they go. And they retreat once more. Now looking to play this one up. Comes an opportunity for number 15, Dennis Chin. Chin gives it up now, Hughes. Hughes finds his man, 97, Mendez. Gives it back to Hughes, and ultimately with Magales. Now near midfield, number 5, that's Shinosky. Connor Shinosky, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Running out that core group. Stoppage in play as Scearce goes down. So we bring out the medical staff. We want to take the time to mention that this stoppage is brought to you by Riverside Sports Medicine. Riverside Sports Medicine offers comprehensive medical services, including primary care, sports medicine, orthopedic surgery, sports physical therapy, and athletic training. And as the Peninsula's premier sports medicine provider, the entire sports medicine team is focused on helping you stay active and keeping you in the game. Riverside Sports Medicine and their medical group, also sponsor of the man of the match. After every Lionsbridge FC game, you can go on to Facebook and Twitter and vote for who you think the man of the match should be, brought to you by Riverside. They work on Scearce here.
Couldn't be a better sponsor to have nearby. We've had 5 or 6 injuries. The guy's down for extended periods of time already, which it's a bit unique. You don't usually see that many injuries 36 minutes into the game.
So we'll go ahead and walk Scearce off, and I'll wait for my official word on who's coming on for him. My guess would be Kagen, but looks like they might put Cooke back on.
It's good. I'm glad to see Derek Cooke get back onto the field, be able to regain his confidence, getting subbed off early. I don't think he did a poor job early, but here's a chance for him to come back in and impact things and help Lionsbridge move this thing forward.
So Derek Cooke now on the pitch. Being roped around a little bit, building possession. Akwe.
The kickers are doing a nice job of being patient, but kind of flooding the attacking area. 3 or 4 players up high into our back line, kind of overloading some spaces, mixing their runs a bit, and eventually, with their patience, picking out a longer ball and getting in behind.
Travis Cooke, the only man back. The ball is sent high and lofted long beyond the goal.
That was a good sequence there. I mean, showed a lot of patterns of play that emerged. Forward gets the ball, kind of flicks it on to the next guy, and excellent sequence. Great for young players to see that develop.
Ball bounces off of about 5 heads before finally bouncing out of play. A lot of red, black, and blue in the crowd tonight. Fans for both sides. Definitely say this is probably the most visiting fans I've seen at a Lionsbridge game so far this year. Kickers, one of the oldest sports franchises in North America, have themselves a bit of a following. On the far side goes Ferguson. Now to Brown. Brown's got to put on the spin cycle, and then he gets wrenched out. Offensive frustration continues here for the Bridge. But they do maintain possession, and there goes Cooke. Cooke will rock on towards Brown. Brown doesn't get picked up. He might just call his own number. He does. Rice makes the save in the sun. First save of the day there for Joe Rice. There goes Poelker.
It's a great strike by Brown. Not only the strike itself, his composure to keep the ball in midfield in some tight areas and just work his way into a shooting opportunity. He's been a real standout here for Lionsbridge. Unfortunately, not a lot of support given to him up to this point. But
Luke Brown, the man from Hofstra, is about to be on his way to the University of Maryland coming this fall.
Gonna be a Terp.
On his way to be a Terp. ACC action is pretty good. you're anywhere remotely close to College Park, recommend going and try and see him play. That shot in from Cooke. Cooke, Travis, wide left.
Couple good sequences there for Lionsbridge. Gotten themselves a couple attempts on goal. They sat in, they got organized, they won a ball around midfield and threw some numbers forward on a nice counterattack.
A few minutes to go here in the half. 2-0 our score. Gallardo and Boehme scoring for the Kickers. Comes another chance. He's on sides. Is the kicker. Looking for a place to send it, and he does. In the back of the net, a beautiful 1-2 tic-tac-toe goal from Yannick Eckenrode. Make it 3.
Yeah, another nice job by the Kickers to mix their runs, to move some guys in and out of spaces, and they found the wide player. You know, it's a tough one to sort out. You know, you're defending in a zone. You're playing zonal. You're picking up players within your zones. But when players' mobility are as solid and strong and as the Kickers, you know, you end up just kind of getting lost in your zone and not being able to step to players at the right times. And, you know, they're finding the open man, and they're switching the ball, and they're playing with a world of confidence right now.
Wouldn't you be up 2-0? Now 3-0 here for the Kickers.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. The unfortunate part is they're only going to get more and more confidence here as they go on. Unfortunate for Lionsbridge, I should say.
All forward. Here's a chance for Cooke, and Cooke dangerously played in front of Joe Rice, who falls on it. Cooke and Rice, pretty good friends.
The problem we're seeing time and time again, Rob, is we're unable to get pressure on the ball on their backs to prevent service, and they're able to look up and play a ball over the top. Our back line is too high. You can't have a high back line and play an offside trap per se if you can't get pressure on the ball. So they got to find some kind of balance, either drop off and concede parts of the field, or you're going to have to, you know, drop that back line in a bit if there's no pressure on the ball. It's got to be one or the other.
Brown now. Brown gets fouled. The official calls advantage. There goes Ramsay. Ramsay's just going to fire. The more and more this offense struggles, the more and more you see desperation shots. The farther away they will continue to come from. 45th minute here. 3-0 our score in Newport News. Is professional soccer, professional sports at all here on the peninsula for the first time in 23 years. And I mentioned, Kevin, in my open, and I know you didn't get the chance to hear me down there, but it's been 23 years. The last time that professional sports was played on the peninsula in Virginia was in 1996. And to give you an idea of how long ago that truly was, I was born in 1996. But to give you an even better idea, the last time professional sports was played here in the peninsula, it was an exhibition basketball game at the Hampton Coliseum between the New Jersey Nets and the Golden State Warriors.
Nice.
Neither team has any affiliation with the Hampton Roads area, but
A professional exhibition nevertheless.
Certainly, and that was, you know, way back when they were the New Jersey Nets and not the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
That was pre-move. Granted, that wasn't all too long ago.
Yep. Well, there was back in 2007, just outside of the peninsula, over in Williamsburg, PDL game where Virginia Legacy team played a Crystal Palace USL Pro team who came into town and ended up drawing 2-2. They played over at William & Mary Stadium. That was back in 2006, but not on the peninsula.
It's just another city outside.
There you go. We had a local product playing back then out of Williamsburg named Andrew Hoxie, actually a Peninsula product, who had a tremendous college career at William and Mary, had a good club and high school career here in the Peninsula, went on to play professionally for several different teams in the USL and in the pro indoor leagues.
Solid first half for the Kickers, a little bit of a struggle for Lionsbridge FC. We will step away and be back after the half. 3-0 our score for the Kickers. You're watching Lionsbridge FC Soccer at Pomoco Stadium. And welcome back to Lionsbridge FC Soccer here in Newport News. As we come out of the half, we want to remind you that the next time you're out to buy snacks for the game at home, check out Lidl, the official grocery store of Lionsbridge FC. Lidl is committed to providing customers the highest quality products at the lowest possible prices. Their everyday assortment features award-winning products and unique specialty items. Lidl also stands by its quality with its Lidl Love It guarantee. Be sure to check out Lidl today. Second half of action getting set to start here in Newport News. A couple of substitutions being made. So we'll just give you a top to bottom here for the visiting kickers, as they've got Jackson and Boateng up top. Troyer, Moore, Levengood, and Retzlaff in the middle, and Ainskoff, Akwe, Mannheim, and Magales in the back line. Fiorre main into the game here for Lionsbridge FC. Trying to sort through the Bridges lineup. Poelker, Cooke, Ferguson. Sam Bacon into the game now. Gunderson, Derek Cooke, James Ellis, Brennan Burton, and Oscar Ramsay. Also had a change in goal, as I believe that was number 1 Caleb Garbuio into the game for the Bridge. That shot on Garbuio gets tested immediately and makes the save. So, Kevin, as we roll into this second half of action, and unfortunately your final half of action with us here this season, what are your thoughts on the first 45?
Yeah, I think it was tough. I mean, you played a professional team who showed why they're a professional team. They kept the ball. They got a little bit of everything out of the game that they wanted, moved the ball around, had chances on goals, scored some goals. But I think Lionsbridge got to make a decision here. If they want to be more competitive from a scoring standpoint, they've got to adjust their back line. It was much too high at the wrong times. You know, again, I made mention, without pressure on the ball, you can't play flat and high up the line with your back line, or you'll get exposed in behind, which happened time and time again through the run of play.
Ball being held on to by the visiting kickers like they did much of the opening half. Now the backside.
Yeah, Robin, we've got the advantage from watching from up top, where you can really see the mobility, and the Richmond players, they're forwards who checking back into midfield, and then midfielders are checking forward and getting in behind, which again keeps them on side. So the flat back line is being exposed by midfield runs, and not as much the forwards, although they're able to hold the ball up. They're not the ones who are ultimately getting in behind. So midfielders are staying on side.
And Kevin, as we head into the second half here, what do you think it's going to take for them to finally get the lights on? Just upstairs in their play.
They got to decide if they're going to just compete. You know, I mean, some of the things are not going to be able to change. I mean, the kickers are going to hold more of the possession. They're going to have to really dig down and compete, and not continue to just give them everything they want. You know, they got to take some things away and just show a little bit of grit here, a little bit of grind. You know, things aren't going your way. You got to find other ways to fight back into the game. But I think a big part is just fixing the structure a little bit and making better choices on when to go flat and when to move up the field and when to drop. You know, keep the play in front of us and play a little safe. You see a lot of teams who play some opponents who going in are known to be better sides, and they'll play real deep. They'll sit on top of their 18 even a little bit. Not to say they're not going to try to play, but they'll just concede parts of the field, sit in, do it with numbers, and not give a gap between the back line and the goalkeeper. Because that's a gap that you got to manage, and it's not that easy to manage if the team's sophisticated in their approach. That was a mouthful, Rob, huh? You probably wanted to clip notes.
It's certainly the most you've said all year.
Saved it for tonight. Let's go. Might have been the coffee, you know. I just, I think from just watching us all year, I mean, you got to pick your poison at times. And, you enter a game as a coach or somebody heading up a team, and you look at it and go, okay, so this team is strong at this. Do we now have to do this? Do we have to play a little bit different? You don't have to, but sometimes the result is the result if you don't adjust and adapt and figure a way to take things away. And, no cut on what Coach is doing. He's done, I think, a good job overall all year long. But, in this game in particular, they're outmatched, and they've got to figure it out.
Good slide there by the defender, Ferguson. Want to get that ball, Wahab Akwe.
One of the difficulties tonight so far is, I think one of the real pluses this year by Lionsbridge is they've been able to get their outside backs into the attack, overlapping and causing the other team some trouble. But they haven't been able to hold the ball enough tonight up front or through midfield to give those guys time to get forward, and just hasn't helped us to build numbers and be more dangerous and be harder to defend. So maybe that's something they can sort out here in the second half. I guess we will see.
Ball to the backside there. Picking up is Akwe. Akwe looking for somewhere to go with it out of play off of 24 Burton.
Tell you what I wouldn't mind seeing as the game goes on is see if Kagen could maybe come in as one of the outside backs, a super urgent player that really has an engine, to go up and back and see if he could impact things a little bit. And that might be in the plans as the game goes on. And, maybe Ellis gets into more of an advanced role where he can be more creative and not have to spend most of his time defending, which he's done an adequate job on the outside there. But he just had his hands full with some overloads and some good ball movement by the kickers. And a game at the higher level is about problem solving. It's about, figuring out things on the fly, not having timeouts. Soccer is a little unique versus other American sports anyway. But players have to be mature enough if they're going to be in contention to play the next level to figure it out. Leaders got to emerge and lead others in the right direction and make things better.
Here comes another chance for the kickers. Played quickly by the kickers after the foul is called. Here comes a chance for the keeper. And a solid stop there from Garbuio.
It'll be important here to see if Lionsbridge can establish some possession, can keep the ball enough, gain some confidence back, gain some rhythm. Again, find their way into the game. without being ultra direct. Right now they're playing through the back a bit, holding the ball, and not being high pressed as much by the kickers. Kickers are happy to sit off a little bit. So Lionsbridge should be able to hold possession.
Eking up the sideline there. Ultimately picking up his Cooke. Back in possession of the kickers. 10 minutes here into the second half. Coming close to the hour mark on this contest. Now to Sam Moore. Moore push it towards midfield and a turnover. Bad touch by Ferguson gives it right back. Mannheim now. The outside. Ratzlav up.
A little better job here by Lionsbridge to kind of dictate and make play predictable a bit. With their front players are pushing the ball into areas and into pockets, taking some stuff away and giving the defenders in behind them a chance to read the ball and step and win it at the right times, which they've been able to do in the last stretch of time.
To the outside now coming is 17 Lockerbie. Lockerbie pushes and switches field. Now lofted up in the air. Here comes a chance for Garbuio. And punched away.
Well done by Garbuio. He's handled himself well in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Yeah, a bit fortunate there, huh? Yeah, bailed out in her own half, almost lost it. They'll take it and go on with it, huh?
Gunderson now switches field.
Yeah, you see some little detailed difference, like the ball played there to our wide player was played to his back foot instead of his front foot, which slows the play down. The kickers are always playing on that front foot. They're finding a guy into the right place, not only to the person, but away from pressure and on the front foot so they can play quicker and get into advanced spots quicker. Differences between professionals and high amateurs a bit.
Not a huge difference, unless you consider a 3-goal difference huge. Lionsbridge trying to be a little bit more aggressive.
That's good, showing some urgency, and that competitive spirit has got to be a given right now. These guys got to prove to themselves that they can put up a better fight here in the second half.
Backline dropping back, maintaining eyes there on Boateng. Switching field on a field that's pretty easy to switch on. One of the more narrow soccer fields out there. Magales gets the ball taken from him and then punted away. Advantage played here for the kickers. Ball sent back and they'll maintain possession.
One of the biggest differences comparing the two attacking groups with the front players, when the kickers high forward checks back into midfield, they always have a player that takes an immediate high position. So you got a guy checking in, and you got a midfielder check into a high spot. So if the ball is played to in a high area, you got players running onto it, and it unbalances the defense. Here, when the Lionsbridge forwards check in the midfield, no one checks to a high spot, so it's easy for the back line just to sit and recover the next pass. It's not an easy thing to do, is to coordinate movements by the front players and the forwards. It takes a long time to teach players to play off each other. But you've seen a good exhibition of that from the kickers tonight and how their movements are up front and how they can unbalance the back line.
Throw in from Ferguson to Poelker. Poelker calls his own number. Rice with the save. Looks like Matt Broomall is getting set to come in for the kickers. And that would be the end of the day for Joe Rice if that's the case. Another ball forward for the kickers. Now forward and a chance. Offsides. The call. And coming now out of the game is going to be Joe Rice, and in goes number 94, Matt Broomall. He'll come out, I guess, at the next stoppage in play as he goes to the check-in. Levengood. Back to Retzlaff. Now the outside. That's back and forth now to Sam Moore. And they switch once again to Lockerbie. Ball passing around. Ramsay. Ramsay slows, gets dragged, and the foul is called.
It's been an improvement, the second half here, 16 minutes in. We've found our way a bit, defensively been a little better, been able to bottle them up, not give them all kinds of different looks. And in attack, spent our share of time into their half, even into their final third, getting a few chances, the latest by Max Poelker, returned and was able to have a shot from about 20 yards out.
So in Joe Rice's return home, he puts up a clean sheet in the 61 minutes he played. Maybe 2 saves made tonight. Not tested a whole bunch, but he made stops when he needed to. And he's welcomed by his teammates there on the bench, and his night will be over. Rice, one of five Lionsbridge FC players from the roster in 2018 that went on to play professionally. Another chance here for the Bridge.
Good sequence there. Once again, I feel a little change in the tempo of the match and the ability for Lionsbridge to play their way into it a little here. It's been encouraging. I got to handle transition.
Speaking of which, here comes one. Daniel Jackson now. Garbuio comes out, makes himself large, and makes a stop.
That was better there. You could see Max Poelker made her run into a high spot as our high target player checked in the midfield to flick one on. Almost connected.
Comes another chance for the kickers. That ball up and in. It continues to get lofted. Stays down. Shot in. And cleared. Now the Bridge come and begin their counterattack now. Forward to Brennan Burton. Burton gets physical with his man. The ball slows down and Burton can collect. Burton with a good forward ball. And here come the Bridge. There goes Poelker on the 18. Poelker have a chance. Poelker shoots. Scuffle away. Out of play it goes for a throw. Poelker now. And offsides is the call. So Ramsay was trying to give it back to Poelker.
Too bad there. Had a little momentum. Had a few sequences gone Lionsbridge way. And Poelker's been in the mix pretty well. Got his foot on the ball deep in their territory. Unfortunately, just a bit offsides.
Ball thrown in, there's Ferguson. Ferguson puts one off the face of the defender. Ramsay maintains possession to Ellis. Ellis looking for a through ball. An empty reception there, and it rolls through the baseline for a Broomall goal kick.
I think he was looking for Maine to try to get in behind, but he had his signals crossed a bit there. It's been a tough ball, a straight ball. Had too much pace over the end line.
Back around here now go the kickers. Ball's crossed towards Ellis, and Ellis will go get it and clear. Stays in the hands of the kickers. That shot on wide left. Not a whole lot of wide right tonight.
Yeah. It's either been in the back of the net or wide left, huh?
Seems to be the case. Able to continue to build. Back into the hands there of the bridge, or on the feet of the bridge, rather.
Nice if the Bridge could get a goal here. I like what this group has done, since the half changed over. I'm sure they talked a bit at halftime, and some adjustments were made by the coaching staff, and you can see that that's taking shape now. The guys are competing. They're getting a lot out of the play here, getting their share of chances, getting into good areas, advanced spots. And just overall really, really putting out a better effort and competing.
Certainly seems that way. '68th minute of play here. I want to remind you that tonight's game is brought to you by Financial Security Group, founded in 1992. Financial Security is one of the oldest independent financial planning firms in Hampton Roads. You can call 757-643-6200 to meet with Kevin Joyce, located in City Center, Newport News, to protect, save, and grow your financial plan. That's 757-643-6200. Financial Security is a proud sponsor of Lionsbridge FC. Ramsay in the midfield in the defensive third. Going to pull it across midfield. Gets across the midline. Ball forward. Here comes a chance. And just a bad first touch there. It gets settled by White. Back up to Ramsay. Ramsay now has a chance. Gives it up to Ferguson. Ferguson lofts it up in the air. No one there to get it. Touch to nobody from Fiorre, Maine. One of the things as this ball is into the attacking zone, comes a chance for the shot on and out of play. That one wide right. And one of the things that we don't typically talk about a whole lot here is the behind the scenes of creating a team, and throughout the entire USL League too. These guys, I think it should be emphasized that they are amateurs, and it's noted, especially tonight playing against a professional team, that they're not getting paid over the summer, which means if they don't live in this area, they've got to find a place to live. And one of the things that this Lionsbridge FC team thrives off of is having host families. I believe it's 14. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's 4, which is a huge difference. But either way, still a number of families opening up their homes in this community to host some of these athletes each and every season.
Yeah, kudos to those families, to make this happen, because without that, you made mention of it, it'd be awful tough for these guys to stay around.
It's obviously easy for some of these local guys, but when you don't live local, it can be pretty hard to find a place to stay over the summer, and host families are part of making that possible. And
yeah,
those host families come out of the woodworks, especially when you have a community that's, yearning for soccer like this one is.
Yeah, well, the Lionsbridge leadership has provided such a good product. I mean, I think these guys are they're fortunate to have this opportunity, I mean, other than coming here and playing in front of a big crowd and playing meaningful matches, in preparation for their college season. They may be home, not staying in shape, not being prepared for the fall. So great opportunity and, something that they should embrace. But, with all that said, it's very difficult to keep them engaged for a full year. And a lot of organizations will actually bring in more outside players because you got a little more control of those guys. You got housing for them. You line them up with camps. You got a little bit more say in what they're doing, whereas the local guys, they're locked in here. They've got a lot of options to do a lot of different things, and not always, what you hope they'd select. So.
19 minutes remaining in this contest. And Kevin, we've been together for 9 games now. This is the 18th half of Lionsbridge FC soccer you've seen as Garbuio makes the save. But 18 halves of soccer here. Still 2 left to be played, but unfortunately you won't be joining us on Saturday. What have your overall thoughts been on the season that we've had here in Newport News and at large?
Real impressed. Last year, inaugural season, to be honest, I didn't make it out to any games. I was coming off a long run of coaching minor league and professional soccer myself. So with my wife's advice and with myself taking a little break, I made a point to do some other things last summer, along with my business. But, coming out here this year, an opportunity to get in the booth and look at it from a different perspective. I mean, wow, I mean, what a great job by the leadership and the ownership here of Lionsbridge to put a great product together. I mean, the game day is outstanding. Been involved with a lot of different organizations who can't touch, how this thing is run, how it's done. So a lot of credit there. And the players are good, very good players. They've assembled a quality group of guys. Now, again, the results aren't always going to go your way, but the talent is there. It's impressive for people to watch. All the guys are very capable players, and good guys. I've got a chance to talk to a bunch of them, and that's what you hope for, humble guys who just want to play.
I think that's been a huge key to success, is having guys, that want to play here, but all of them seem to have that sense of humility. And, the ones that I've gotten the chance to talk to all echo that sentiment have been just a pleasure to have around. From top to bottom, just a place that people want to be. And you can see that, rising attendance numbers and just overall better quality in year 2. Not to say the quality in year 1 was subpar, because it was certainly an excellent year as we led the Eastern Conference in attendance in that first year. But to have attendance and crowds like you're seeing tonight, to be able to stream to Facebook Live and with our friends at partnership with our friends over at Cox Yearview, just a whole lot of things going in the right direction for this Lionsbridge FC club. And the squad's got to be happy. Here comes a chance. Garbuio's not going to make the save. Ball up and over the net. A cheeky touch by Charles Boateng makes it 4.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, the back line decided to try to step and not at the right times. Again, no pressure on the ball. Guy was able to play an easy ball in past the back line. And, although the backs were calling for offsides, and, yeah, it wasn't. And now it's the 4th goal.
It was a beautiful chip over Garbuio. Unfortunate and celebration there.
Yeah. You know, the tricky part, you know, a lot of people hear of a flat back four, but it's not meant to be flat all the time. It's meant to be flat at the right times, to be able to utilize the offside line and to move when they play negative or we're pressing or there's pressure on the ball. But to go flat into step when they can serve and they can pick out players, I mean, especially professional players who have time and space to pick out somebody, they're going to pinpoint that, you know. And then things such as that will happen.
Key White into the game here for the Kickers. Comes a chance for Brown. Brown with a nice touch. Brown gets settled. And he'll continue to try to call his own number and taken away. Not taken away by Cooke. Cooke will do it himself momentarily. Up in the air comes a chance. And another stop out of play off of Broomall.
No shame in this second half. You know, again, we've had our share of chances. I mean, the game's been pretty wide open, which is fun from a fan's perspective to watch, or soccer enthusiasts out there. Teams are going back and forth, going at it. Lionsbridge, chance here on a corner kick.
Fans rumble, the ball gets played long and out of play for a Burton throw. Lionsbridge FC is calling all defenders of the bridge out to Pomoco Stadium on Saturday night for the final home game of the year. As they take on Sanlee FC. Again, that's Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Gates open at 5. Game starts just after 7. Come early and stay late for a night full of fun at the field. Advance tickets can be purchased online at lionsbridgefc.com/tickets.
Yep, and hopefully they finish on a good note. Sorry to duck out on you, Rob. I mean, my daughter has a wedding shower, so I'm going to be in attendance. It's a couple shower, so we'll see how that goes.
You have fun with that. I'm sure
yeah,
we'll be having a good time here. It certainly will be missed. Ball up in the air and cleared. But congratulations, though.
Thank you. Thank you.
Certainly something to celebrate. I've always been a man who likes to emphasize family first, so I certainly can't blame you.
Yep, yep. We wish Allie the best. She's a former soccer player in her own right. Enjoyed time watching her and my oldest daughter Megan and my youngest daughter Courtney all play the game. Just tells you how old I am. I had all those daughters that played it and they're done.
Still no daughters over here.
Yeah.
Or sons or anybody really. So it's just me. Just me. Party of one.
There you go.
On the far side for the Kickers, they start to pick their offense back up again here. Offsides is the call on number 9, Daniel Jackson.
You know, Rob, it would be interesting, or it would have been interesting, I should say, to see how this team would perform on a little bit of a wider field. I think the components and the makeup of this roster with Lionsbridge, with some speedy outside players, some backs that like to get forward, some crafty guys, you know, out in the channels, may have played into the favor of the home team with some wider space to play into. Now, Pomoco is a great venue for, you know, for this team to play out of, so no issues there. But, you know, I think just having some space could have been a plus for this group.
Certainly changes the logistics of the game. And this visiting squad has certainly made the most of the more narrow pitch this evening.
Yep, and they've shown that although narrow, you can keep the ball with the right mobility and movements. And fortitude to kind of look ahead and find options, you know. It's the urgency off the ball. If any young players out there are watching, I mean, this is a good team to watch. Their movements are tremendous. They make space. They create options time and time again and make it easy on their teammates. Play the ball to the front foot, keep that thing moving.
So James Ellis returns to serve. Back Brown. Off to Cooke. The other thing, even though this field is incredibly narrow, something that the kickers have done exceptionally at is using every inch of the field. You know, no man is closer than, I would say, 15, 20 feet to the next man. It's an incredibly spread out group out there on the pitch this evening.
Yeah.
And at times here, at least at Pomoco, we've seen quite a bit of compact play where everybody is kind of just all within a pretty tight central radius of the ball. Tonight, certainly quite the opposite.
Yeah, well, you know, just the classification of being a professional side, you've got the guys in every day, sometimes multiple times a day, where you're working and training on, you know, speed of play, rhythm of play, you know, building cohesion within the blocks. You know, the guys know each other like the back of their hand at this stage. But, you know, you got professionals that are full-time at it, you know, and it shows.
It does. These guys all trying to work to get to the next level. So USL League 2 is the path to pro. Path to pro for everybody around here. Players, officials, interns, broadcasters.
Color analysts, yeah, man. I mean, I'm trying to get an agent as we speak.
Ferguson now. Ferguson to the much shorter James. James with a cross in and snatched out of the air. Less than 10 minutes to go here in this contest. No post-game action tonight on Facebook Live, it would seem. Although, here comes an opportunity here to make it 5. A shot in, and in the back of the net from Alex Levengood. 5-0.
Yeah, again, good mobility by the kickers, but, you know, choice is maybe not the best by the defensive unit to chase a player into midfield and break the shape. Sometimes you have to pass players off, pass them up the field, let the midfield block deal with those runners and just continue to stay connected in the back line and keep your shape and move as a group and not as individuals.
Kickers up after the goal from Levengood. Levengood making it a 5-0 game. 2 goals here in the second half. And not necessarily the result the Bridge were looking for tonight, but given the circumstances, I don't think they've played to the score this evening, if that makes sense.
No, I think with a different approach, with not being as flat at times that I don't think were the best in the back, you're looking at a couple goal game. I think 2 or 3 of these goals would have been, you know, thwarted, you know, having just defending with numbers and not stepping out. You know, again, I've said many times, pressure on the ball allows you to step up as a group. You know, but, you know, we're playing a back line that hasn't really played together this year. You know, we got a mix of some players, a couple guys playing out of position, and, you know, it's not easy, especially against a team of this caliber.
There's a chance for the Bridge. That's just a bit far. And Luke Brown was right there to clean it up, but solid defense by the goal scorer, Levengood.
I think a good choice by Luke there to pull out of that tackle a bit. It could have been a bit detrimental to his upcoming fall season if he'd have went in that one full blown.
Gotta say. Still that one home game to go. I'm not sure who will be on the roster for that, but I will certainly be here. And as Kevin and I have already talked about with whom, that is TBD. But I imagine it'll be with somebody.
Or you'll just have to do it all, Rob.
The show must go on. Forward now to Elbustu on the near side. So giving up to Brown. Back to Ferguson. Looking for White, and ball just isn't there. Final 5 of this contest, 5-0 our score here in Newport News. And Kevin, with just about 4 minutes to go as we get ready to say goodbye, any final thoughts here on year number 2 here for Lionsbridge FC?
Great year. Excited and thankful to be a part of it. Learned a lot being at the booth, a little different perspective from being down on the field. Enjoyed working with you, Rob, so thank you for putting up with me. You know, I know I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed on some occasions. One thing I didn't do is I didn't use any bad language, so I didn't get myself in trouble.
Positive. That is a positive to take out here. And
watch my P's and Q's.
You know, Kevin, being up here in the booth as a coach, and for those of you at home who don't know, good old Kevin Darcy, the head coach of the women's team at Hampton, just down the road here. But as a coach here, watching the game from an analytical perspective, being able to watch it here, how does that, or what kind of perspective does that give you as opposed to watching it from the sidelines or watching it from the field or as a fan?
And it's educational, and I've always felt if you're open to learning, even at the ripe age of 51, which I am, you can learn and pick things up. And watching it from here and not being, ground level and not being engaged in the play, not having the pressures of having to do it, you become a bit of an armchair quarterback. Maybe you're a little critical at times about what's going on because you can be. You're in a position to look at it and second guess anything and everything. But I've learned a lot about being in the booth, but also pick things up as we go. And I talked a bunch tonight about the back line. I've been pretty critical about that, not about the individual players because I think they're all good players, but just the coordination of players, and the choices from groups of players and blocks of players. So when I go back with my teams, I'll think about that, as the game goes on, and I'll think about adjustments, and just gives you that whole different look and view. So yeah, that's cool.
Glad to hear this time was productive for you this summer, and I share that sentiment. It was a pleasure, to bring these games to these fans at home with you by my side.
Yep.
The joys of doing this with Patrick Garber last year, and Patrick has made a move to the social media squad here with Lionsbridge FC, and he and Emily Dugan are able to keep you updated at home on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and they do an excellent job. Austin Gregory and the production crew maintaining here through year 2, with the addition of John Rector and Ryan Baker helping us out. Julian Santamoro, Mike Santamoro as well, Austin and Christian Urch, an excellent crew here in Newport News, and sometimes doing more than you might be able to expect is capable out of a group of 6 or 7, but certainly a group that, even though we tend to bite off more than we can chew sometimes, have had ourselves a pretty decent year all around, at least from a production standpoint as well. So I want to make sure that their names get sent out there, because we certainly wouldn't be able to do this without them. Foul there as the Bridge have an opportunity.
I get an opportunity to talk to a lot of fans and soccer enthusiasts out in club and camps and at the facility that I work out of, and it's just a buzz. It's a buzz in the area. People talk about it. People have the shirts on. People are excited about upcoming games, and they're going to miss coming here on the weekends once this season concludes. But the buzz has been created. The product is tremendous. Again, the ownership group has done everything and then some to embrace the area and provide, opportunities for people to enjoy the great game of soccer.
Absolutely, and now that this buzz has been created, if you're in the 757 area, there's plenty of places that you can continue to fill that soccer, thirst for soccer and that thirst for the beautiful game. Whether it's right here on the campus of Christopher Newport University. Their women's team last year went to the Final Four in Division III. They've got a decent men's team. There's a women's team that plays down at Hampton. You can see the coaching stylings of good old Kevin Darcy. Not quite the peninsula, but William and Mary is another opportunity to watch soccer to be played. So there's plenty of places on the other side of the water. The peninsula, Old Dominion, Regent, Virginia Wesleyan is down there. No shortage of places to watch the beautiful game. But as we continue to talk about that beautiful game, this one comes to a close. 5-0 our final in favor of the visiting Richmond Kickers, and a relatively successful night overall for the Kickers and for the program. Not necessarily for the guys on the field, though they did play relatively well given the circumstances. Kevin, your final thoughts on tonight's contest?
Yeah, kudos to the Kickers. Great to see a professional team and to play a professional level of the game. And, proud of the Lionsbridge guys. I thought they made a better effort in the second half. They didn't cave in. This thing could have ended up 10-0 with a lackluster effort in the second half, but they showed resolve, created chances, had some good chances. Didn't give up a ton going the other way, but, a good team's going to break you down at times. Good offense sometimes beats good defense in all sports, and, I think we saw that tonight. So kudos to the whole event, and, we'll see you next year, I hope, Rob.
And, Kevin, it was an absolute pleasure. And for those of you at home, we still have one more that you can watch. You can watch here on Facebook Live, here on Cox Your View, or on the USL League 2 site. Or if you'd like to join us, game starts at 7, gates open at 5. You can get tickets online at lionsbridgefc.com/tickets. I'd love to see you there. Come and say hello. But until then, we bid you farewell. From Austin Gregory and the production crew, John Rector, Ryan Baker, Austin and Christian Urch, Mike and Julian Santamoro, and, of course, Kevin Darcy by my side. I'm Rob Smith, and you've been an absolute pleasure. I wish you the smoothest of sailing until next time. 5-0 our final. Good night.